Chinese President Xi Jinping has asked his army to be prepared for war. On the occasion of the 90th anniversary of the People's Liberation Army, Chinese President Xi Jinping has asked his army to enhance its combat readiness and forge an elite force that is able to win wars whenever it is needed. Meanwhile, the Chinese army has displayed its might on its 90th anniversary, and a grand parade was held today. So that's the latest. For more on this, I am joined by India Today's executive editor Gaurav Sawant. Good morning, Gaurav. How should India read this comment by the Chinese president?
This is a very big statement being made by Chinese President Xi Jinping, but this is not India specific. You'd realize that China is having trouble with several of its neighbors. There is a situation with Vietnam where China threatened Vietnam with war in case Vietnam continued with oil exploration in the disputed South China Sea. This happened just last week. There, of course, is an intense standoff that's on at Doklam Plateau where China has made some very strong, very shrill statements against India. So the Chinese Foreign Office and the Chinese military and the Chinese media, they've made some very shrill and provocative statements against India specifically, but Chinese president's statement should be seen in the wider context of China's disputes with Vietnam, with Japan, with the United States, where China intercepted an aircraft of the United States, where China has flown its aircraft over Japanese islands, and the situation in South China Sea, along with what is happening even at the India-China border. So it's a much bigger statement considering it's coming from the Chinese president, and that too at the 90th anniversary of the PLA.
Right. Gaurav, in the recent past, India and China have witnessed a tremendous face-off due to the Doklam Plateau issue. And like you said, that we should not read it as an India-specific comment. So what is the latest as far as the diplomatic and strategic ties between India and China is concerned? What is the current situation between the two countries?
The Doklam standoff, Archana, continues on ground. Diplomatically, if you recall, initially China claimed that unless India withdrew, there will be no dialogue on the subject. But when National Security Advisor Ajit Doval visited Beijing for the BRICS National Security Advisors meet, there was a separate bilateral meeting with his counterpart, Yang Jiechi, his counterpart on boundary talks. So talks are on. There is a situation, there is tension between sharp war. At this stage, at least military analysts in India and South Bloc is of the opinion that the issue can be sorted out through negotiation. And as External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj said on the floor of the House, that since China changed the status quo, it's for both armies to withdraw simultaneously and get back to status quo ante, and then sort this matter out. But will this mean that China can do something else elsewhere? The security forces are preparing for any situation otherwise. But at this point of time, they're saying that there's a window between now and November for any tension between the two countries, but they're hoping that they can sort this out through dialogue.
All right. Thank you so much, Gaurav. Please stay on with us. Let's also tell our viewers about how the US President Donald Trump has hit out at China. This for not helping it deal with North Korea. Trump has accused China of doing nothing on the North Korean front after it launched an intercontinental ballistic missile test. In his critique, Donald Trump tweeted that China is making hundreds of billions in trade due to the policies of America's past leaders, but in not helping America deal with North Korea. Trump has asserted that US will no longer allow this to continue. To remind you, soon after North Korea's missile test, US and South Korean militaries conducted similar exercise in response to North Korea's first intercontinental ballistic missile on July 4th. Gaurav, another interesting development in the Southeast Asia, and we know how North Korea has been consistently test firing these missiles, and this ICBM, this is the second time that we are seeing this, and this time Donald Trump has come out and hit out at China.
The U.S. President Donald Trump, Archana, extremely disappointed with China. Again, he started off on a very warm note initially, despite the poll rhetoric when he took over as president. Started on a very warm note, hoping that China and President Xi Jinping will weigh in on North Korea. But, his disappointment, he's tweeted about his disappointment, he's spoken about his disappointment, and he's hit out at past presidents saying that they were extremely foolish in engaging with China in the manner in which they did, where China made billions of dollars and has not helped U.S. deal with North Korea. U.S. sees North Korea as an immediate threat to it, and U.S. realizes that China, North Korea trade and defense ties, they've grown. North Korea survives because of China, and yet China has done little to rein in North Korea. And the testing of an intercontinental ballistic missile, a missile that can reach the U.S. shores, is something which is extremely significant. U.S. is very worried. And that is why Donald Trump has the United States, along with South Korea, carried out an exercise. The United States and Japan, have been carrying out exercises. They've talked about how rules of sea need to be followed in the disputed South China Sea. So, when you look at President Xi Jinping's statement at the 90th anniversary of the PLA, it should be seen in this context, because China is pushing the envelope on virtually every border, whether it's with Vietnam, an issue with Philippines, an issue with South Korea, with Japan, with India. So that is where the situation is at this point of time.